thousands of years stand between us and this story, and it reads as though it were written yesterday. Here is a family, and it could be any one of our families. Isaac and Rebekah have been married many years, and like a good enough number of people who have been married many years, they live together but no longer love each other. They don't seem to hate each other. They are indifferent to one another, which actually may be more painful still. Neither Isaac nor Rebekah know who the other is anymore, and they don't care to know. They each have hearts full of longing and of pain, but they bar the doors of their hearts against one another. Isaac and Rebekah live in the same house, but in different worlds. To the extent that either one shows any awareness of the other, it's as an object of frustration, as an impediment to manipulate their way around. Isaac sets secret plans in motion. Rebekah stands in the next room with her ear to the door. Then she hatches her own scheme. Isaac is old and sick and bedridden and outmaneuvered. They act against one another without ever saying a word to one another. The care that Scripture takes in dramatizing the silence in their marriage is almost exquisite. Isaac speaks only to Esau. Rebekah speaks only to Jacob. It's hard not to see the boys as sort of two divorce attorneys sitting across from one another, speaking for those who no longer speak. They communicate past each other and around each other, and they bless past each other and around each other too. They are each so busy plotting to bless their own favorite son that they fail to see the old, tired, lonely soul sleeping beside them in bed. Isaac is not the only one who is blind. What if Rebekah had gone in to her husband and took his face in her hands and said something like, "There's more life behind us than before us now. All the balm in Gilead won't heal the wounds we suffered at one another's hands. I know that. What is done and can never be undone, but I'm sorry. I think I've wanted to say that to you since the day I met you. I'm sorry that I was never going to be who you needed me to be for you. I'm sorry for what I am. I'm sorry for what I'm not. I'm not saying that the anger now won't be anger or the bitterness be bitterness. At this point, I know my resentments better than I know you, and I'd be too alone without them. But may all of this pain come back to us as a blessing. Somehow, may it be so. And what if Isaac had wept a benediction of his own? If he had said, "There is hurt, but there is love in the hurt. I'm sorry too. God bless to us the love and the hurt and the love." Scripture sometimes speaks of the sins of the father being visited upon the children. And stories like this one are what the Bible has in mind. Isaac and Rebekah did not wound one another in a vacuum. They drew their sons into the fray. They could not both love the same son. This would have brought them together, would have bonded them, would have been a joy and a sorrow they shared in spite of themselves. So they split the twins the way those two women who brought the baby to King Solomon might have split it, had not one of them loved enough to let go. In this household, there was no such love. And so the sword fell. The family was cleaved in two. Isaac got Esau. Rebekah got Jacob. Sole custody for each of them, living together but not together, all under the same roof. And so the distance between husband and wife became a distance between brothers. Esau and Jacob feuded and lied and schemed, just as their parents feuded and lied and schemed. Jacob, you see this, he doesn't care about what his deceit will do to his brother. It doesn't even occur to him to care about this or to consider this. When his mother proposes her plan, he hesitates, but only to think of what might happen to him should his father find him out. Jacob's single moment of moral pause shows him to be entirely self-concerned, without a shred of empathy. And of course, Esau can give as good as he gets. He plots, too, Jacob's murder. But in the background of all their treachery, in the background is something heartbreakingly tender. The hunger of a son for his father's blessing. Esau and Jacob were raised to believe that there wasn't enough love to go around. That love was a zero-sum game. That love for you means no more love for me. Jacob ached for his father's love. Even Rebekah, the one standing shovel in hand behind the hole in Jacob's heart, even she ached for him. And Esau, who by all accounts had 2 sons worth of his father's love, had it all for himself. Even he ached for it. When there isn't enough love, there isn't enough love. Even when there is, there isn't. We didn't hear this verse read this morning. It's almost too sad to read in church. When Isaac and Esau discover what Jacob has done, Esau cries out, "But have you only one blessing?" If only he could have understood that Jacob had been asking himself that same question his whole life long. And how many other sons and daughters have stood in their siblings' shadows asking it too, wondering why nothing they did was ever good enough, and what more they could possibly do to make their parents love them. What if Isaac hadn't waited to speak his blessing with his dying breath? What if he had taken his sons, his 2 sons, one on each knee, and bounced them squealing and laughing until the tears streamed down for all their laughing? Wouldn't that have been blessing enough? If you read the Bible straight through from the beginning, you'll see a pattern emerge. Cain and Abel, Isaac and Ishmael, Jacob and Esau, Joseph and his brothers. One rivalry after another. One set of sons pining for their father's love after another. And this story of families tearing themselves apart is given to us to read as, in fact, the story of God. There's something almost unspeakably beautiful about the scale at which God works between one brother and another, between a father and a son, between a husband and a wife, between us. God speaks the world into being, and then very quickly becomes embroiled in these small dramas, in these ordinary household griefs. Somewhere in the cosmos, stars are exploding and engulfing whole galaxies. But God's eye is on the one who is sick with love. And the only thing I can make of this strange fact is that it really matters to God whether we fill one another's hearts or break one another's hearts. And that indeed, our salvation in some way depends upon whether we fill one another's hearts or break one another's hearts. God never intervenes directly to set things right. God never comes down from heaven to tell these children or tell the parents of these children to get their acts together. God doesn't chastise them from above or whisper to them in their consciences. God speaks only in their ache for one another, in their longing to give love and to receive love and to be at rest in love. God softens their hearts. God humbles them, breaks their pride, so that in the end a beautiful arc can be traced from the first chapter of Genesis to the 50th. There's more love. There's more love in their lives and in the world at the end of the book than at the beginning. You know these stories? Cain kills Abel. One brother murders another, and that is that. Isaac and Ishmael, though, they part, but they come together again to bury their father and then leave never to see one another again. Esau does eventually forgive Jacob. He runs to him, in fact, and falls at his brother's feet weeping, so that Jacob can only exclaim, "Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God." But at the end, Joseph and his brothers, the 11, they reunite. They fully reconcile. They live together again, one happy family. Slowly, chapter by chapter, generation by generation, forgiveness becomes possible. And here too is a family. That could be any of our families. A family in which the pain we cause one another somehow, eventually, returns to us as a blessing. A family in which the love and the hurt and the love are all held together within a great mercy, are all held within the arms of the one who works these slow miracles of healing, who turns the hearts of wives to their husbands and fathers to their children, and all of us to all of us. May it be so.